All right, lads, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mods, Balls and all the breakdown. We're live on Ruckdis.ie, Irish Rugby Banter, and on YouTube as well through Mods, Balls and all. Tonight, so far, we have Matt Boland and Dara Weston. Matt, we do every Monday night, and you're well used to it. We will just dive straight into it. Leinster 62, Harlequins 0. Leinster 19 up at half time. Two late yellow cards for Harlequins. What are your thoughts on that match?
First of all, I'm just going to apologise to everybody watching and anybody that does watch this show going forward. Danny is in a Brock box jersey, and he's going to never appear on this show again with that jersey. So apologies for any offence. So what was that now? You want me to talk about the Leinster match, is it?
Yeah.
Well, look, do you know, I hate watching games like that because it's really it's just like watching men against boys, really, you know. And I feel sorry for Harlequins because they genuinely are a better team than that display. But like, you gotta say credit to Leinster, like they put aside, put behind everything that happened in the Six Nations. You know, half the team travelled down to South Africa. A very narrow defeat to Bulls and a good defeat, a good win against the Sharks, and they came back and like to put like 62-0, like not even giving away a penalty or like a try or anything is just. You know, again, I hate fucking watching that. It's not enjoyable to watch teams get absolutely fucking destroyed. You know, I mean, it was enjoyable as a Leinster fan. Great to watch, yeah, grand, but like, I don't know. Great for the first 15 minutes. Harlequins were kind of doing all right. We're in the game a little bit, but then just as soon as the first couple of tries went in, and halftime came, you know, I kind of said to myself, look, if Harlequins can come out in the second half, maybe get a score or two, get a little bit into the game, we'll have a good game, you know, and then Leinster in the last 20 minutes will just win it by maybe 10, 15 points. But fucking hell, like, you know, over 40 points in the second half, like it's literally a point a minute, you know, averaging a point a minute. Like it's demoralizing the likes of the Harlequins players, like.
Yeah, because like they missed 5 conversions as well, so that could have easily been 70 points.
You know, and like you look at it this way, isn't it great that they did miss them conversions, because it would have looked an awful lot worse for Harlequins, you know. And you know, Marcus Smith, like, you know, like coming down and coming up to the Lions selections now, and everybody was kind of saying, oh, you know, some of the Irish lads haven't really put their name up or put their hand up, and Jack Crowley and Sam Prendergast, this whole fucking debacle between them two, they both had amazing displays at the weekend, as if nothing happened in the previous months for Ireland, you know. And it just goes to show you the type of players that they are, that they can. I mean, Jack Crowley had the last 2 games man of the match performances. Do you know what I mean? So it just goes to show you the professionalism. But then you look at poor Marcus Smith on the other hand, and he looked as if he was fucking lost. You know, you
wonder what's going on.
They had no game plan. Like, they obviously had one game plan to try and do whatever they were trying to do, but it didn't work for them. And there was nothing. There was nothing else. There was no backup plan, no plan B, no plan C. And, you know, even the last, I mean, okay, Leinster scored maybe 3 tries in the last maybe 5 or 6 minutes. But you could see that James Lowe try, they didn't even fucking bother. They just fucking walked. Like, you could see how demoralized they were. You know, they knew the game was over, and they just weren't bothered in the end. And I hate seeing it. I really do.
Mentally, I think during the playing home at that stage.
Listen, I'd say after 10, 15 minutes of that second half, they wanted off. They wanted off. They wanted on the bus. They wanted home.
I was going to say hello to Bev and Marie. There's a Christopher Goff. And hello to you as well. And yeah, don't worry, I'm not going to take a blind bit of notes on what Matt said about the Springbok jersey that I'm wearing.
He's a
Not
fucking
one.
turncoat. Fucking turncoat.
That's my response to you there, Matt.
All I heard was, I
Even
didn't actually hear that, and you froze for me.
Evening, Gregor. Let's see. It comes in as well here saying, did Quinn's not get off the bus or the plane? I don't think he came out.
I don't think they even fucking travelled.
Right, so DHL seriously failed to deliver there anyway with Harlequins.
Oh, Daddy!
Hey, that's why James Brennan joker tonight anyway. Peter in there as well with everything gel for Leinster. Link play, offloads, pod moves. They're superb. So Marcus Smith was nowhere near his lines prospect, could be damaged, which is true.
Like, I mean, he's speaking the absolute truth. Like, Leinster had a really good day where everything worked, and it looked as if nothing worked for Harlequins, and then that was the result, 62-0. So, but I think Peter's right. Like, Marcus Smith has done himself no favors because he was quite good during the Six Nations. You know, he was commanding his team, commanding the forwards, commanding the back line, and doing good things. Like, but I think he really might have damaged his prospect. But you look at the flip side, Sam and Jack have done themselves all the favors in the world.
Yeah. There, I'll come to you on the Leinster Harlequin game, 62-0 at halftime. What are you talking that one?
6-2 at full time.
Full time, sorry, yeah.
Half time.
90 minutes halftime.
That's the effect of the jersey. You're talking shite already. Well, more than usual. Listen, look, I mean, I kind of feel sorry for Harlequins, but at the same time, they're a fucking professional team. And I mean, that was just atrocious. I was talking to Quins fans walking out of Croker, and I was saying, Jesus, lad, sorry about that. Like, and they were like, well, what can you do? We didn't fucking turn up. You know, it looked like, as Matt said, there was no plan B or C, but it looked like they had no plan A either. I mean, they had yellow cards. They conceded a penalty try. They should have actually conceded a second penalty try with about 20 minutes to go, but I think the ref felt sorry for them and just gave it as a penalty to Leinster. I mean, it was literally, I was sitting in the Cusack stand, sun blasted onto us, and it was just like champagne rugby. I mean, but again, towards the end, like, they didn't even try to, I mean, or even make a tackle. I mean, it was just, they were already crying in the dressing room in their heads. Yes, just, you know, and the Leinster substitutions, I think, showed, you know, like Barrett came on for Ringrose, went into midfield. Then was it Frawley, I think, came on for Hugo, and I think Frawley went in the wing and Lowe went into fullback. So they, you know, at that stage they were just kind of experimenting and just showing off the versatility of the players. I think the stat I saw was they spent, I think it was the furthest they got in the second half was 36. The nearest they got to our post was 36 meters. They didn't get into the 22 at all. And I mean, overall, I'd say the match stats were heavily skewed towards Leinster in terms of field possession and you know, field position. I mean, it was an amazing display to watch. My only worry, not to jinx anything, is you only get one or two performances like that during the Heineken Cup, and you know, you kind of, you know, you don't want to use up too many of the great tries and stuff like that. You know, keep some in the back pocket. But yeah, like, I mean, it was just for a team, for a Premiership team that sent over their first 15. They didn't send over the youngsters or anything like that, to just get hammered like that. And actually, what I thought was very interesting as well was Caelan said afterwards in the interview on the pitch that it was great to get back after being in Ireland camp. It was great to get back to playing the Leinster way again. So I don't know, was
Yeah.
that some kind of a little dig at the Ireland setup, and maybe the fact that because Andy wasn't there, but yeah, no, just like great performance. I don't think I could ask for anything more really. A couple of missed kicks.
You could have asked for more, because you could have asked Harlequins to actually make it a proper game. Like, that's the only thing that was missing,
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of like Leinster having a complete performance in every
Yeah, well, like, I
facet
mean,
of the game.
first half, what, it was 19-0, I think, at going into
Yeah.
half time.
Yeah, right,
So,
yeah.
I mean, I still held out hope in the second half that there was, like,
I did too, to be honest. I thought
there'd be a bit. I thought, Jesus, I was a bit uncomfortable. We hadn't the bonus try by half time, and I was like, this could come back to bite us in the arse. But, like, I mean, I was watching. There was 65 minutes on the clock, and people were already getting up and leaving to beat the traffic. And it was just like crazy.
Yeah, bit of memory up there as well. It was boring after a while. Quinn should have just fought to the match and not travelled. But like, you don't want, no team goes out there to put that sort of performance to Harlequins.
No, but like, I mean, they didn't travel here to bend over and lose 62-0. Like, I'm pretty sure they travelled over in the spec. Well, look, let's give it all we've got, and we can be in this game. Because if you look back years in history of the Champions Cup and the Heineken Cup as it was back then, Harlequins and Leinster were really great teams, and the matches that they used to have were absolute spectacles, and where there was like 1 or 2 points in the game. And even going back to that famous Bloodgate game, that was won by the skin of the teeth, like, for Leinster. Do you know what I mean? And just the comparison from back then to the Queens of now is just what's gone wrong. Like, where has it all gone wrong? And you'd even look at the teams and go, it's not a worse team than back then. It's probably a better team, but it just maybe goes to show the difference between Leinster and other teams at the moment.
I think it's also a reflection on Premiership rugby.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
That, I mean, basically, it's only a matter of who's got enough cash to keep operating year to year.
And that's the thing.
And I think dropped.
Yeah, with the likes of Wasps and London Irish going under now. I know London Irish will be back, but you've got a few clubs that have no longer exist, and I think that's had a massive effect on the actual Premiership itself and teams as well, because a lot of the guys have gone to different places to play. A lot of them are in France. A lot of them are playing elsewhere. And that's not good. Like, either. And it's clearly it's a mindset now as well that's affecting the teams.
That's it. But there wasn't one Premiership team. Sorry, Northampton won. They beat Claremont Auvergne. Surrey's got beaten 30 points by Toulon. And then obviously Leicester got beaten by Glasgow by 20-something points.
But now,
that's a fair reflection of the state of the Premiership, that only one out of the 4 teams actually won, and the rest of them lost by nearly at least 30 points.
But the thing about Sarries is they didn't even send a full team, which is disrespectful. But if you look at that first half of Sarries Toulon, Sarries were up by 22 points at one point in that first half. And I thought, fuck, that's it. They're going to go on and win this. And fair fucks to Mark McCall, because he decided to pick a junior squad and send a second team, and they're doing the job. So happy days. And I went out I had to go down. Had to walk down to the shop to get a few bits, and was kind of checking it on the phone, and I was like, fucking hell, Toulon are coming back. And then all of a sudden it was like fucking 50 points. Like, it was like, Jesus Christ.
Joe Lyons in there with a comment as well, saying Leinster getting very little credit, bottom line. Several English test players and other test players that won the GP Gara Premiership 3 years ago and put Glasgow away 2 weeks ago. All in all, no respect given to Leinster strangling them and technically tearing them apart, all in total destruction of a team that is one of the top in the Gara Premiership. Which is a very good point. Gregor in there as well. I feel for their fans who travelled and saw that performance, any team would.
Oh,
18-1.
definitely. Especially, I was chatting to a couple of lads and they were heading into Temple Bar, so they would have ended up paying about 12 quid a pint. So, I mean, I
Jesus.
felt doubly sorry for them when I heard they were going to
Yeah.
Temple Bar.
To fucking add salt to the wounds that they had to go in and pay
Yeah.
fucking 20 quid for a
Exactly.
pint.
But like, I mean, it was, yeah, I mean, it was like watching somebody kick a puppy. But at the same time, if Leinster had, you would be, kind of what Joe said there. Like, I mean, if Leinster had taken their foot off the throat and actually let up, you'd be more worried, because that's
Yeah.
what a professional team should be doing. You're going out there, and if you get the chance to hockey somebody, you hockey them, because your ultimate goal is put as many points on that board as you can.
Oh, look, absolutely. And
No.
and teams have done that in the past where they've taken the foot off and,
Yeah.
have paid the price, and
Oh yeah, it's backfired.
and it will happen again. But for Leinster to just go, right, we have this game won, but let's just keep going. And it really was a complete performance by them. And I think it's a good thing for them, because I think they needed that, because they needed to see that they can pull out these performances in tight games. And let's not forget that that's a knockout game. And if you speak to any South African there at the weekend, they'd have said, "Oh, fucking don't worry, they can't win a knockout game. They'll be gone home and they'll be on the plane or whatever, or with their tail between their legs." But that's a knockout game, and if you don't win, you don't progress. And we've never had that before in the Champions Cup. It's always been a quarter final. This is the first time it's after being the last 16. So it's an extra hurdle for teams to get across. And I think Leinster, their mindset was we're gonna fucking put a performance here. And I think they had their mentality right going into that game. They had their homework right. They had their drills right. They had everything right, and everything just clicked. And that was the result, 62-0.
Yeah. Brian Cork coming in there as well, saying the nil was the best part for me. Really loved that Leinster stayed in it for the 80.
100%.
Oh yeah.
The fact that they didn't let in Anton, it just goes to show you that their mindset was in attack and in defence. And the attack was to get as many points, get as many tries, get as many scores on the board, but also defend like you're losing. Defend like the match depends on it. And that's a savage mentality. And look, that's the result, 62-0. I did not. If anybody had told me that was going to be the match, the score of the match before the match, I'd have fucking laughed my arse off.
And that's it. And like, when you think Lee Halpenny missed a penalty, and did Marcus Smith miss a penalty as well? I know Lee missed the long one in the first half.
Not sure.
But like,
I'm not sure. I know Halpenny missed one, yeah.
Yeah, but like, quality players in that opposition, as I said, it was a first. So definitely. I mean, I at some points I was looking at the backs, the Leinster backs, and they were just kind of like, okay, Hugo Keenan was kind of like getting a suntan because there wasn't much for him to do, if he was trying to play last man back. So yeah.
And Peter, in there as well, the Nilla team is a great show for Leinster.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a stamp of authority.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, none of this winning by 1 point for Leinster, against opposition. I mean, we just go out there,
That's it, yeah. We just go out and destroy teams, we don't cling on for dear life and then win by a fucking point. Or, sorry, hold on to win by a point. They didn't even win it by a point. They held on.
Which that comment leads perfectly into the next match. La Rochelle 24, Munster 25. 10-7 to La Rochelle at halftime. 4 yellows in the game. Munster 15 points in the first 15 minutes of that second half. What are your thoughts on that game?
I'd say the Munster management and players should be buying EuroMillions tickets. Jesus, it was. You could see whenever the camera panned to Rod, you could see he was fuming. Because it's funny because I was texting the wife because after the match I ended up going out to Malahide with some mates because they all live out around there. So I was watching it in the pub there, but I was driving. So anyway, I was texting the wife and going, "Oh, could be dangerous here now," you know. And she was like, "I'm from Cork. I don't care. I win either way. You know, either Rog wins or Munster wins." But yeah, Jesus, incredibly close. But at the same time, I mean, you know, to win by, is it a good enough performance for Munster? Because that's a team that's of all the French teams, that's the lowest position team in the last 16. They're 10th in the top 14. So they're having an absolute mare of a season. I mean, Skelton, you could see Skelton wasn't the same fella he was like last year. He, you know, I think age is creeping up on him now at this stage. But look, yeah, it was good by Munster. You know, I mean, some good performances in that, but I still think they need to pull the socks up for the next one.
Yeah. Joe Lyons in there with Jamie so-and-so's. It's a 1 point win. You take the win. You take the win. A win's a win. Not going to complain. Matt, what are your thoughts on the Munster La Rochelle game?
Look, I mean, I really wanted Munster to win that game, but I didn't think they would. And before the game, I had La Rochelle winning it. You know, my head always said fucking La Rochelle, but my heart wanted Munster to win because, you know, I no matter who is playing, whether it's Connacht, Ulster, Munster, or Leinster, I want an Irish team to win, an Irish province to win, right? Unless they're playing Leinster, and then I just want Leinster to win, which is fair enough because I'd expect that from everybody else, right?
Proper order, yeah.
I honestly didn't think Munster were going to do it, but I was fucking delighted that they did because it proved to me that the dog fight was still there for Munster, and it wasn't a brilliant performance by them, but they fucking fought it out. They dug deep, and you could see it. You know, they just wanted to win that game more than La Rochelle. And I think I think trouble is there for La Rochelle. I don't know whether it's a case of the team isn't performing to what to the usual standard, or is it a case of O'Gara has lost the dressing room, or is it whatever, right? I don't know what's going on, but you know, you could see Rog was under pressure, and you could see by the reactions to what was going on in the game, he clearly wasn't happy, and as a coach wouldn't be. But like, fair fucks to Munster, they literally dug their heels in and said, no, we're not fucking losing this game, we're fucking winning. And Jack Crowley had a fucking masterclass. He really did, and he played incredibly well, and it just cements his position for Irish rugby. And if there was ever a doubt whether he was going to sign on for Irish rugby, that he put it to bed right there and then, because they're going to get the checkbook out now to fucking keep him, because, you know, having the likes of him and the likes of Sam Prendergast, who also had a great game at the weekend, we need both of them, and we want both of them. And I don't care. I'll fucking pay them £1 million each. I really don't care. They're fucking worth it. If that's what they can do after a disappointing Six Nations, that's exactly what we need. And we need both of them. End of story.
Yeah.
There were so many good performances by Munster. Like, Tyke Byrne was fucking phenomenal. Like, the chap, he jackaled pretty much everything he could and did his best at the breakdown, and he turned over a lot of ball and made things really difficult for fucking Aldred. And Aldred's a fucking great player. And, you know, even when Ireland were playing France, you had that Gregory Aldred and Caelan Doris going head to head. But fucking hell, Tyke Byrne really pulled the masterclass over him, you know. And, you know, and that try, that Craig Casey try, I don't know how Abrahams got through the way he did, but fucking hell, he deserved it, you know.
But what about the Gavin Coombs try?
Gavin Coombs, like his reaction after, so he knocked it down, fucking ran forward, kicked it, and scored the try. And he literally stood over your man Ibrahim West and just fucking like, yeah. It was fucking brilliant. And You could see it. Like he wasn't being he wasn't being disrespectful or anything. He was just proven. Like I don't know. He's been really, really good, and he's always been really good for Munster. And I don't know why he's been overlooked so many times for Ireland, because he is a fucking beast. And give him the ball 5 meters from the line in the 22, and he's getting over that fucking try line every fucking time.
Yeah.
And
But that there shows from Brian Carr. What about Coombs shouting at the La Rochelle player after scoring? Was he up for it? Of course he
it
was up
wasn't
for
just
it.
him. Do you know, it wasn't just him. It was the whole fucking team. They were all
Yeah.
up, and you could see it. You could see that passion and that dogfight that Munster have been missing for a while. Really, like when it comes to Europe, I think Munster just turned it on. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what they did at the weekend against La Rochelle, because I don't think anybody had them winning that game. I really don't think anybody did, because look at La Rochelle, 2 Champions Cups, the last 2 finals, and the beating Leinster, not the last 2, the previous 2,
Yeah.
And only lost to Leinster last year in a quarter or semis or whatever it was.
Quarter, I think.
So they've always been there in the last 2 or 3 years, and that's credit to Roland O'Gara. He really has built that team, but there's something going on in the background now where I think he'll either go or he'll be asked to go, and I guarantee it'll be either this season or the start of next season. He'll be gone.
Yeah. Speaking of Ronan O'Gara, Bevan Marie says that bet that drop goal hurt Rog, and Christopher Goff says here, how many Munster and Ireland games has Rog won with drop goals? Only to get beat by Munster's drop goal. It bites back at times. And I think Ronan O'Gara was basically saying online that Crawley was a bit of a cheeky fucker for drop goaling to put Munster ahead at 8 points ahead near the end.
But that's what he said. He like his actual words were, it's ironic that he puts Munster out by 8 with a drop goal like that, and then he said, I thought the cheeky little fucker, because he knew at that point that's what he used to do. And it's a very tough position for O'Gara to be in, because he wants to win with La Rochelle, but is he secretly disappointed? No, he's probably delighted for Munster that they won, because I don't care what he says, he'll always have Munster in his heart, because that's where he plied his trade. That's where he was so successful for many, many years. He will always, if that was Leinster, he'd be fucking bulling, and he'd be on the fucking on the cameras going fucking shite bags, the lucky pricks and blah blah blah. But because it's Munster, he's like, fuck it, I'm disappointed, but I'm happy.
A bit of a little cheeky prick, yeah. Shouldn't have done that against me.
I'd just like to remind everyone that other teams have scored drop goals. It's not just a fucking Munster player ability. Even Johnny Wilkinson won a World Cup with a drop goal. So it's not just you don't have to be born in Munster to
Kieran Frawley fucking won a game in South Africa with a drop goal.
Exactly.
Well, one second. Yeah, you telling me the players outside Munster can score drop goals?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're telling you, Danny.
That's it. Yeah.
And probably better.
That's news to me. I never heard that Kieran Fry scored a drop goal in South Africa. Johnny Wilkinson scored a drop goal to win the World Cup. I've never heard that before.
You think you would have heard about the South African one, seeing as you've turned into a Safa? Are you trying to get more listeners down South Africa, or some sponsorship in Castlebar or something?
He'd be out cooking fucking braais now at the weekend instead of fucking barbecue.
All the nights to go, what have I got in the laundry basket? Oh, here, I'll put on this Safa jersey.
Yeah, but there's
a bit of green and yellow in it, right? So yeah, you kind of go.
Which is actually the Kerry colours as well. So tell you Cork boy that the Kerry colours travel better than the Cork colours.
The only thing Kerry coloured is the badge, the green and gold. The rest of it is dark green. It's the wrong fucking shade. So
it's still green and gold.
Wrong shade.
No, you're not getting away with that, Brosnan.
Yeah.
Disgrace. It just shows these Kerry people can be bought for anything, like the Healy race. Every Kerry person has their price.
Absolutely, Darren. They all have their fucking points.
Some South African forum were onto him going, listen, we'll pay you so much in Biltong if you wear a Safa jersey while you're presenting. And he went, Grant, send it over. So
Joe Lyons in here said there was once even a Yank that could drop a goal too. Heck, even Leinster sent one lad down to you. Lot to beat the All Blacks.
that's it. Oh, sure, Joe. I mean, if you look at now, that Yank who's over in France now, but if you look at Munster's performances, the last 2 seasons, they've really come into their own. And that's since the Leinster lad we gave them has become captain.
Yeah. Sonia Carkin here was at the game, super atmosphere. Some very drunk Queens fans were shirtless in the Baltic Hogan stand. Had the crack with 3 older Leinster supporters who bought them Sambos. Thoroughly enjoyed the game. Leinster, after the first half, were ruthless and clinical.
I actually, when I was sitting in the Cusack stand in the glorious sunshine, I actually felt a bit sorry for the people over in the Hogan stand because it was totally in the shade.
Yeah, it's always the way.
And once you got into the shade, leaving the stadium, it was freezing.
Yeah.
So.
Lads, we'll move on. I'll come back to you, Matt, in this one. Connacht 35, Cardiff 20. So it's actually a repeat of the group game the last time they had in the Challenge Cup. Connacht were leading 14-8 at half-time. 3 yellows in the match. Just 21-20 to Connacht after 60 minutes before they nailed another 14 points. Do you see the match or highlights or anything?
Yeah, no, I actually saw most of the games, even fucking games we're not even going to talk about it. But like, again, I had Connacht winning this game, and I kind of had a feeling they would comfortably win it because, let's face it, like Cardiff Ospreys, and any Welsh team are really not at the races in the last few seasons, and I think they were lucky to get as far as they did. But credit to Connacht. It was a great performance for them. It's no easy feat. Like in any competition, when it's a knockout stage, you've always got that fear of if you don't perform, you're out. And I think that's what kind of drives teams on. But like it was a fairly evened game in terms of possession and territory. I think it was fairly 50-50. But I think Connacht just had the skill and the players for converting points and getting tries and stuff. But there was a couple of standout performances for me in that game. Mac Hansen was good. Matthew Devine I think he's going to be a class fucking scrum half, and I think he's going to be one for the watch list for Andy Farrell for the future because he's just fucking he's got it. Like,
yeah,
he really has. And again, he's quite young, so he's only going to get better. I think Hanrahan was quite good. Now I know he's going to Munster, which is probably he's going back to Munster. I should say it's a good thing for Munster. But look, happy enough. A couple of great tries ran in. Josh Ioane, I think, did he score? Or I can't remember. Or maybe it was Shane Ball. It was a good try, but they thoroughly deserved to win. I mean, what was the score at halftime? Did you say to me?
Let's check now. Halftime was 14-8 Connacht.
14-8. So it was very close. It was very close at that point. But I think Connacht again probably showed their ability and their class in the second half to see out the game because, Cardiff and Ospreys and the likes, they're just not the teams that they used to be. I mean, there was times when Ospreys years ago were fucking Leinster's bogey team and we couldn't fucking beat them to save our lives, But it was great. Delighted to see Connacht progress. I think they'll find it difficult now the next game. I think I don't know. I don't know who they're playing. I'm just going to have a quick flick here. They're playing Racing 92. Racing aren't the team that they used to be either. So
Finn Russell left.
you know,
Side bench, Peter.
the fact that it'll be at home again for that game might do them justice. But again, I'd love to see them do it. I'd love to see them get to a semi. So it'd be great for Connacht. I really would.
Let's see, few comments in here from Bev, and one thing from Joe here as well. He said it was Baltic. I suppose that was the Hogan stand as well. Bev and Marie saying here as well. It was such an intense match. Connacht fought tooth and nail until the end of each half. They did. It was, I think, Mac Hansen had a yellow card in something like the 31st or 32nd minute of the first half. But time had went on so much that he actually ended up coming back on again before halftime whistle went anyway. And Bev, and again, it says the rumor is Matthew Devine is going to Ulster. Even though I'm not an Ulster fan, I really hope he doesn't.
Even though she is an Ulster fan. She's saying as an Ulster fan,
my mistake. I misread. Sorry. See, even though I'm an Ulster fan, I really hope he doesn't. I suppose. Would he be better off a Connacht though?
You'd be better off out of that jersey. It's affecting your brain cells.
I ignore that comment. But Les, do you think Matthew Devine, would he be better off staying at Connacht or moving to Ulster?
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest, and that's the short answer I have at the moment.
Ulster is a team in kind of reorganization, redevelopment at the moment. Look, if he's playing well in Connacht, leave him in Connacht, and he's happy, you know, and he's getting his starting place.
Well, I think isn't John Cooney going at the end of the season for Ulster? So if he went, it wouldn't be such a bad thing either, because he'd probably get it starting there. Whereas, as Bev Ange just said, rather Ben Murphy go up and be with the rest of his family, which is actually a fairly fucking good point. So maybe switch it. Maybe keep Matthew Devine in Connacht and send Ben Murphy, because he'd be with his brother and his outfit. That's not a bad shot, actually.
Derry, your thoughts on the Connacht Cardiff game?
I didn't see it now. I only saw highlights, but Jesus, I thought Connacht would win all right, because look, the French or the Welsh teams are not the force they used to be. They're still capable of surprises, but you know, I thought Connacht would do it, and they did. Fair play to them. You know, they fought until the end, and good match.
Mike Sheedy in here with a comment as well. Great game, Munster. Teamwork, also players are getting better, like old school Munster. Rugby, more to come this weekend. I suppose it's true. Dara, since I have you there, Bordeaux 43, Ulster 31. Bordeaux were up 21-0 inside the first 21 minutes before Ulster clawed back 21-14 at half time.
I tell you, it was some performance by Ulster to come back, and I mean, basically, they lost 4 points on the 2 missed conversions that they had.
They 2 tries disallowed, or 2 tries held up.
So
One
I mean,
held up.
they could have actually won it. I mean, they fought all the way through. Megan Augusta's partner Timony got a try. You know, I mean, it was just they were full of fight. You know, I really thought, and like Bordeaux are second in the top 14. I think they're definitely in the top 3 anyway.
Yeah,
and to put in a performance against such a highly ranked French team was amazing. You know, and that's it.
Matt, your thoughts on the Ulster Bordeaux game?
Look, I was devastated for Ulster, because the fact that they let Bordeaux get so far ahead at the start, and credit to them for getting back into the game, but they had the winnings of that game. You know, they really did, and like 2 tries are disallowed, or I think 1 was disallowed and 1 was held up. Massive thing, you know, like if they had been converted, that's the game won right there. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
again, being asleep at the start is kind of what Ulster have been doing really well of late, not starting games or not finishing a game properly. So I think if they can get a complete performance, they're a good side, and I have to say, Zach Ward had a great game. He carried with intent. He was actually a beast. He was running over people left, right, and center. He actually had a try. He scored 2 tries and had a try disallowed, and he was phenomenal. He really was. I think he had a great game, and I think he's really put himself on the radar for the summer tour, definitely. Anyway, do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it'd be great to see him on that summer tour, and who knows, keeps playing that the way he did, he might even get a nod from Andy Farrell after the autumn games for next year's Six Nations, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, Zach Ward, he came over from Sevens, didn't he?
Yeah, but you could see, so Sevens is obviously a really tough game to play because there's so much open field and so much open running, and you have to be covering all angles. And unfortunately, he was caught out defensively for one of the Bordeaux tries.
Yeah.
He was in a ruck where he probably he didn't need to be, and he was signaling to Richie Murphy to go out and cover for him. But if he had just been covering there, he would have stopped that try.
Murphy or Richie?
No, Jack.
Or Jack.
Yeah. Jack. Yeah. So he was signaling to Jack to get out, but he could have been there. Do you know what I mean? But look, again, he's only switched from 7, so it's hard for players to make that switch at times, and we've seen a lot of them do it and haven't really done well in 15s, but he's doing well, and he's only going to get better again, but he's some strength on the wing, and he's quite pacey for the size of him as well, so he's definitely one to watch.
Bev, and in here as well, again, Doak was absolutely shocking with his kicking. Yeah. It's like he was trying to kick the ball back to Ravenhill. That's how far he was out. Is that an issue that needs to be addressed for him?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you can't blame it all on one player, but yeah,
no, of course you can.
And he had, he was over 50% in his accuracy. But yeah, if he had 100%, I mean, that's, it's kind of like being the goalkeeper, being the fly half sometimes, because ultimately it's what you left behind, So,
yeah.
If you look at the stats for that game, right, Ulster were 56% possession and 59% territory. So again, they should have been winning that game on stats alone, but unfortunately we've seen a lot of that lately where teams that are up on the stats are down on the scoreboard, and we all know you need to score points to win games.
Yeah, because it went the same way about 2 or 3 weeks ago when Ireland were playing France in the women's game. The women's had the possession, they had the territory, but they couldn't convert the points.
Yeah,
France just took the opportunities. That was it.
Yeah,
and Joe Lyons. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, no, I was just going to say about Joe Lyons' point that the main issue is the front 3 are paper thin, and the IRFU haven't stood up to get them an NIQ or short-term player. Well, geez, if Ulster can't get it with Humphreys there, given permission for NIQs, who else can? It's impossible to be competitive. It's a scrum is toast before every game. So.
Yeah. That's it. You see Peter on here as well saying that Ulster kicking was absolutely shite at times. And it's just one of those games, for whatever's going on with Ulster, it just doesn't seem to be happening. And it doesn't seem to be happening just right anyway. Right, there's be 15 minutes left to spare. So, Matt, can you put up next weekend's games there? So
what you want?
Well, just the provincial games.
So, Champions Cup.
So, Glasgow.
Leinster, Glasgow.
The evening.
Yeah.
Or Leinster, Glasgow.
Then you've Bordeaux, Munster Saturday.
Yeah.
Northampton, and Toulon and Toulouse.
Yeah, what's it now? Who've Connacht got in the Challenge Cup?
Racing.
Racing, right? Yeah. Right, Darryl, come to you first in this. Leinster versus Glasgow. How do you think that one will go?
I mean, I'm keeping the faith. I'm going Leinster. I mean, people will say, yeah, you know, I watched most of the Glasgow match in the pub, and yes, they beat Leicester, but you know, we also beat a Premiership team, and we absolutely trounced them. So, look, I still believe, you know, Cian Healy's going to get his 5th medal this year, and then he'll go off down to New Zealand and win the Super Cup. You know, become the only player to do it. Well, no, I think did Issa do that as well? I can't remember. But yeah, so no, I think it's definitely. I don't know whether I'm going to it yet now because there's an in-law family birthday on in Kinsale on Sunday or on Saturday.
Yeah.
At 6:00, which is very unpopular given the time of the.
We don't need you on full Zoom, Danny. Thanks very much.
Yeah, what's it now? Yeah, no, there's some mistake. But thanks for that one.
But yeah, it's a late start. It's 8:00 kickoff, but hopefully I'll get to it and not be driving down to Cork.
Who wants to be driving down to Cork? In fairness,
people who want to drive back from Cork. That's the only reason to drive down there is to drive home.
Yeah, that's how lucky you are, I suppose. Matt,
could be worse. Could be going to Kerry.
Yeah,
not a sniff of
Kerry. Matt, weren't you down in Kerry there recently, the last year or two? Lovely place, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
I was down there in 22,
it's a fantastic place. It's just shame about the locals and the roads are shite.
But that's why you go to a 5-star hotel where they all speak English and they understand and you can understand them. That's the only reason. That's the only reason I go to Kerry.
That's it.
Joe Lyons here. That's a terribly defeated man. He should have said no.
Is Joe talking about me saying no to my wife going to her sister's birthday party? Joe.
Yeah.
You're not married.
Yeah.
No, Joe is, but he talks a good game. But
he does.
It's all about survival, Joe. It's all about survival.
Actually, we had a bit of trouble here with Joe as well. With the mother-in-law a few weeks back.
Yeah,
so if anyone wants to take a shot at that and send down to Joe Lyons' missus, now's your opportunity. All right?
We'll do the same again.
Yeah, Joe, if you're in trouble now and any time over the next 10 minutes, just say Wendy ball. We'll know it. We'll send help over, all right? Matt, your thoughts on the Leinster Glasgow game. Who do you think will win that one?
Look, if Leinster play the way they played at the weekend, they'll have no problem. It'll be a hell of a lot closer because Glasgow are a good side. They are a very good side.
Yeah.
If we do everything the way we're supposed to do, we should be okay. But we've got to be wise and know what threat that Glasgow have because they are reigning URC champions, you know, and they also put up a 24-point win on a Premiership side. So, you know, they're going to come with confidence, absolutely, you know. But
and as Daniel mentioned, they're coached by a Safa.
Yeah, 100%.
Marco Smith, isn't there?
I'd have to agree with Burke. Glasgow are good, and I don't think they have the power to deal with Leinster. And I think that's a pretty fair reflection of what's to come. But you know, if Leinster don't turn up, they could be in trouble. But I'd feel Leinster after that win, they'll fear no one, you know, and they'll know what they can do, and they'll take massive confidence in that because they haven't got things right in numerous of games with certain aspects of the game, and I think they put all the doubters to bed at the weekend by absolutely trouncing Harlequins, and I think they'll go and beat Glasgow. It won't be easy, but I'd say they'll do it, and I'd say it'll be maybe 10, 12 points.
Well, Leinster definitely turn up. Sure, it's in Lansdowne. They couldn't get lost even if they wanted to.
100%.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to be a massive. I'd say there'd be bonus points. When I say 4 tries. There's no bonus point knockout.
Yeah.
But I'd say, it could be, 30-something, 20-something to Leinster.
I reckon.
Yeah.
I reckon so. I'd say it's gonna be a quality game. I'd say it'll be
It'll be a
brilliant
bit of
to watch.
squeaky bum, I think.
Yeah,
about 10
definitely.
minutes
Without a
second.
doubt. Definitely.
Yeah, you won't be repeating the Harlequins game the weekend anyway. I'd say that anyway.
I reckon it'll be very close up into the 60th minute, and then I'd say Leinster will just finish the game out.
Anyway.
Last.
Right, lads. Matt, I'll come to you on this one. Bordeaux versus Munster. Bordeaux at home.
Yeah, look, in saying that, Munster are going to have massive confidence going into this game.
Yeah.
They beat La Rochelle in La Rochelle. They are not going to fear Bordeaux in Bordeaux. So, Bordeaux are a good side. If Munster can do what they did at the weekend to La Rochelle, they would be well up for this game. And I'm going to go with a Munster win just because I really want them to do it again. And I didn't have faith in them last weekend. I wanted them to win, but didn't think they would. So I'm going to go with a Munster win.
Would you zoom out and stop putting that bloody crest on the Zoom?
Fucking,
Brosnan?
you need to see a South African jersey up fucking close and personal. Thanks very fucking much.
That's probably Burke fucking about in the background or something.
No
Mike Sheehy,
product appearance, thank you very much, or product promotion.
Yeah, Burke Mike Sheehy is actually agreeing with you on that one anyway, Matt. Darry, your thoughts on the?
I mean, I'm contractually obliged to say Munster will win, but there's a big gap between Bordeaux and La Rochelle.
Yeah,
so they're going to have their work cut out for them. I would say get the ferry over, lads. If the worst comes to worst, at least you get a boot full of cheap wine, bring home.
yeah.
But I think it's going to be a massive. They're going to need a massive increase in performance against Bordeaux.
Yeah,
I think they can't afford to be cocky, and I think they need to be out there hammering each other today now, and just forget about having beat La Rochelle. It would be the ultimate irony if, Munster knocked out Rogers' team, and then Munster got knocked out straight afterwards.
Look, I mean, that can happen.
I wouldn't be condoning that kind of thing,
But that can happen to any team. Do you know what I mean? But I think Munster will take immense pride, and they'll take immense confidence going into that game at Bordeaux. And as you say, it's a massive step up because there's a big gap between La Rochelle and Bordeaux. But Bordeaux will be rattled without a doubt. They'll be fucking rattled.
Definitely. I just think they need to be careful about the pride, because the big thing, pride coming before a fall. I think they need to just clear the slate and not believe any fucking hype from last week about beating La Rochelle, and just go in here like this is a mountain to climb, lads. We need oxygen to get through this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Peter coming up in this one, and he makes a good point because they conceded 31 points against Ulster. Bordeaux have a very leaky defence. I fancy Munster on this one. Damn it, Burke!
I'm going with Bordeaux now. Thanks very much, Peter.
Fuck's sake.
He needs to shut the fuck up in every.
I mean, you don't get top of the top 14 and top 3 of top 14 with a leaky defense without having a brilliant attack. They can afford to let in. I mean, if you're scoring left, right, and center, you can afford to let in a couple of tries. I think Enoch's just put the mockers on you now.
He has absolutely.
That and the fact that you couldn't even be arsed to wear a Munster jersey ahead of the match, Danny. I mean, Jesus, poor form. I'd blame you if they lose.
Yeah, you see, I'm a bit like Burke in a way. If I wear the particular jersey of a team, they tend to lose. So, I'd probably be wearing the Bordeaux jersey this weekend if I can get my hands on it. Anyway,
which doesn't explain why you're wearing a World Champions jersey, but anyway,
it really doesn't explain why you're wearing a box jersey.
No.
Plus, I have it Friday time. The last time anytime Ireland have beaten South Africa, I've been wearing this jersey, okay? Anytime we've beaten them. But either way, back to the business side.
We'll be calling on the TMO producer, Mr. Burke, for a couple angles on this to review this now. Investigation needs to be had. The guards need to be called about this now.
Right, Dara, Connacht versus Racing. Your thoughts on that one? You think
Jesus, I'd love to see Connacht doing it, but I think Racing could be a step too far. Now, having said that, Connacht are at home. So,
yeah.
I mean, look, their only hope is if Racing send a weakened team. But how likely is that going to happen in the final 8? In the quarters. So I don't know. They'll need a hell of a threat of a team talk by Grennan at halftime, I think. Something like that. But I don't know. I think it I hate to say it because normally I love, I'd be proud to support every province, but I think it could be too big an ask. But I hope I'm proved wrong.
Yeah. No, Bev Ann makes a good point here. She said, I think Connacht will win it, as Racing probably won't send their first team due to fighting to not get relegated in the top 14. So, does that possibility as well, maybe sending over a half-strong squad?
I didn't realize they were in relegation zone. So
they're actually in 11th and they're 3 points above relegation zone. So they can't get relegated. That's like if they get relegated, that's a massive thing for a team like Racing, and it'll be an embarrassment for them to go down to the D2 because it for a team like Racing with the history and the pedigree that they've had over previous seasons and years. That'll be embarrassment for them, and it's a no for them to go down. So Bevan has made a very good point. They might not, and because it's, let's face it, because it's only the Challenge Cup, it's not seen as the elite fucking European championship. So they might just go, here, fuck this, lads. Let's concentrate on fucking getting our team right and keeping our best players for the job at hand and staying in the top 14 because they are 11th, and I don't think they've ever been 11th in the last fucking 10 years.
I know it's normally Mystic Matt that does the predictions, but I'm going to say it now. Racing get relegated, okay? Raj gets fired, and then Raj goes to Racing and brings them back up into the top 14 again.
Yeah. I can guarantee you that will happen. Raj won't go to a team and down in the D2.
Guarantee. He will if he's getting paid shitloads of money and it's somewhere he's been before.
But that's the thing. Racing won't have the money then because they'll have taken a fucking massive pay decrease going down there.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Challenge Cup winners, they get an automatic spot in the next year's Champions Cup, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So would Racing maybe take the chance of battling off relegation?
I don't think the chance is worth the battle for relegation because the French media will fucking destroy them big time, and they'll be hated by Parisians because it's something that they're really proud of, their rugby. And when Racing and Stade Francais play, it's like two worlds colliding in Paris, and they're very passionate, and once one team can get the better of another team in that derby, it's colossal. Do you know what I mean? So
I mean,
I would imagine
for a French team to get relegated from the top division, but to win the European Cup is like Kerry losing the All Ireland final, but winning the Munster hurling final.
Yeah,
nobody would care about it.
Exactly.
You won Europe grand, you still fucking lost in you got relegated. So
Brian Corr, top 14 trumps Champions Cup in France.
100%.
Yeah. So, I suppose we have one more game I want to ask you about before we wrap up for tonight. Yeah.
Can we just take a moment to remember the poor parachute fella who was bringing the ball into the Toulouse match and got hung on the stands?
What a fucking belly!
I had to have the cherry picker, and worse still, he was from the French army as well.
The French fucking army, the fucking chap, Oh, fucking, he should have. Do you know what? He should have been shot out of the stand. Fuck him.
The ball his own shite.
God, shot.
The ribbon he's going to get now for the rest of his life. Specsavers, something like that he called.
He should be dishonorably discharged for that fucking performance at the weekend.
Yeah.
He be sent to the Foreign Legion in Saharas or something.
Probably, yeah.
Well, anyway, sorry, Danny, on to the women's games.
Right, I'll come to you first in this one. Ireland hosting England in Cork Saturday. How do you think that one will go?
Jesus, I'd love to see Ireland do it. Hate the pitch in Musgrave, the 4G pitch or 5G pitch, whatever it is. Jesus, the Roses have been so fucking strong the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But then Ireland have had some great matches so far this season, so I think it'll be a tight match. Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to say draw. I can't quite get myself that far to say Ireland win, just because of the history with the Roses and stuff, but I'd say it could be a draw. I hope I'm wrong and Ireland actually run away with it.
Yeah, well, Matt, what way do you think it'll go?
Look, it's going to be a really tough game. The Red Roses are the team in English, in women's rugby, and they have been for the last few years. But this is a different Irish team, and these girls are fucking phenomenal. And I'm just going to look at the result, right? England played Italy at home and only beat them 38-5. We went to Rome and put 52 fucking points on them, and we hadn't beaten the Italians in 2 years. I'm going to go with an Irish win. Come on, the girls.
Do you know what? Christopher Goff is agreeing with you, Matt.
Yeah.
So is Mike Sheedy.
Yeah.
Both in Ireland wins.
I'm gonna back them to pull off what nobody thinks they will ever do, and that's beat the Red Roses. And I'm fucking telling you, they're on a massive upwards trajectory. And if you look at the results over the last few years since they've been made professional, this team is one of the best Irish women's team we have ever seen, and they are putting it up to the best teams in the world. And they're on the perfect trajectory now going to a World Cup. They beat England here. They're going to be absolutely fucking made up. And I really, really want them to win this game so badly. They deserve it.
Unfortunately, our record loss for the women's team was against England last year.
Shut the fuck up, Danny. You can't.
That was the way. That was the way.
Yeah, but this is a totally different team this season.
All right. Dara, Matt, it's been a pleasure. Hope to have you on again at some stage anyway, lads. Till next time.
The whole watching you in that jersey.
Yeah, I'm going to fucking bleach my eyes now for the rest of the evening.
Fair enough.
How much did you sell your soul for Brosnan? How much? Was it a heifer or two, was it? Or a bull?
It was a good Solaire bull and a massive.
No, the bullocks, was it?
A load of bullocks is right.
There's a good Solaire bull and a massive, all right?
I'd just like to apologise to anybody who watched tonight's show for the
Why do you think I started off?
I would have to put up with from Matt and Dara. Apologies, lads.
Good man, Danny.
I get hosting the show, and I had to put up with this shit from the two of you.
Do you know what? If you're the host, do you know who he reminds me of? Do you remember the Father Ted song for Europe? And your man Henry Sellers, and he's like, "Hello, welcome to the song for Europe." And it's like, I
just like to formally announce a new host for next week.
Yeah, tell you.
Danny Brosnan has been stood down.
That's it.
You know what?
Do
you know what, Christopher? I will get a Finn Russell jersey.
He's wearing Finn Russell underpants, Christopher.
Fuck's sake.
At least we hope he's wearing underpants. Right, good night.
Good night, lads.
Next time, take care. Enjoy yourselves.
Good luck.
Good luck.